Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp. My name is Glen and today we're going to have a look at some of the games that are coming out on the Switch in this upcoming week. Now I'll be honest, at first glance it did look like it was going to be quite a disappointing week this week, and whilst not absolutely stellar, having looked at some of the games in a bit more detail, there are a few quite interesting looking indie games, with a couple in particular really catching my eye. So with all that said, let's jump straight into it. First game up then, releasing on the 10th, is a game called Shadows, which is published by Ultimate Games. Now Ultimate Games have released a few games on the Switch so far, to varying degrees of quality, one of which was Go Fishing 3D, which actually managed to achieve, if you can call it that, getting the lowest ever recorded score on SwitchUp of 23%, I think it was. I will stick the link to that particular review in the top pinned comment if you want to have a look and feel better about your game collection. Now this appears to be a first-person puzzle game with a horror theme setting based in a hotel, with the blurb mentioning that you need to conquer your fears and discover the truth hidden within the shadows. Now having just watched the trailer, I'll be honest, this looks more like a Goosebumps episode than anything else, with the over-the-top creaking door noises really topping things off. Next up then, releasing on the 12th, we have Yoga Master, which launches at £17.99 owing to a 20% pre-order discount. This is a fitness and well-being game where you are using the Joy-Con to emulate exercises that you're seeing on the screen, with 150 different poses being included. This sounds very similar to things like Ring Fit Adventure or Fitness Boxing, both games that actually work very well on the Switch, and it'll be interesting to see if this one is able to compete with such titles. The next game then is Overpass, which also comes out on the 12th. This racing game sees you taking control of buggies and quad bikes to try and negotiate slopes, steep inclines and various other obstacles on off-road tracks. Featuring vehicles from major manufacturers such as Yamaha, Polaris, Arctic Cat and Suzuki, the game promises that you will be battling the elements as much as the other vehicles. It also states that pure speed is not the way to win, and that you will need to master the realistic terrain physics in order to come out on top. Now obviously I can't comment on the game itself, it may well be great, but what I will say is the price is pretty damn high, with it being just under £50 just for the base game, and if you want the deluxe bundle, it's going to cost you closer to £60. Another that's out on the 12th then, and this one looks really interesting. It's called Neon City Riders. This looks to be a top-down action-adventure game with some brawling or arena-based fighting in it as well, where you play as a vigilante taking on urban gangs in a dystopian cyberpunk future. The first thing that strikes me about this game is the lead character looks like a mix between Chucky from the Child Play films and Casey Jones from the Ninja Turtles. Quite possibly one of the best hybrids you could ever get. It's £17.99, but it does have 10% off that price if you pre-order, and actually looks a lot of fun, although unfortunately it appears to be one player only, which is a shame, as this looks like it could be a great deal of fun in multiplayer. Nonetheless, this definitely looks like one to keep half an eye on. Next up is a cheap and cheerful looking puzzle game called Bento. The premise in this one is simple enough. It sees you trying to put together a variety of bento boxes by using the ingredients you are given to match the picture of what the box should look like. You'll need to rotate the ingredients and things will get progressively harder as you go on, and there are over 100 puzzles. It has a nice simple clean aesthetic and apparently also tells a wordless story about cats and parenthood. So, you know, there's that as well, I suppose. Coming out on the 13th then we have Cider Reloaded, which is a remaster of a shoot 'em up called Cider Arcade, which came out in 2012. Now I've never played this game, but I have heard good things, and it comes with a variety of different difficulty levels, online leaderboards, and also quite interestingly, a number of different retro filters to change the art style to match various systems from over the years. It's priced at £10.79 but does have 20% off that if you pre-order, and whilst the shoot 'em up genre is definitely one that's well represented on the Switch, this game may well just beef up that library further still. Also out on the 13th then is a game called Alder's Blood. This is another one that looks really interesting, with Banner Saga-esque graphics, albeit mixed with quite a somber colour palette, and promises stealth-based tactical combat. Interestingly, it has a stamina-based system whereby every move or attack you make or spell you cast will cost you stamina, and you'll need to obviously keep an eye on this to avoid fatigue, potentially putting yourself in trouble. The story is one of a grim world that's been plunged into darkness after God finally turns his back on mankind, and it also states to be a fusion of Victorian fantasy and the Wild West, which certainly sounds intriguing. This has quite a whopping 40% off if you own some of the other games already released by its publisher, and the full list is on that eShop page. This definitely looks like one that could be worth picking up.
We are hunters. The devil's gonna take me. Our blood is the final thread that stands between balance and...
Next up then, again on the 13th, is a game called Rack and Ruin, which is a fusion of an ARPG with a bullet hell shooter. Judging by the screenshots, it looks very much like an Enter the Gungeon type game, but the art style really intrigues me. It actually reminds me of another game on the Switch called Smoke and Sacrifice in some respects, promising over 28 different spells, items and abilities, and over 30 unique enemies. This one definitely looks decent. It's another game with a pre-order discount, this time a very specific 23% off, bringing it down from £11.49 to £8.83 up until the 12th of March. The penultimate game then, a game called Dead or School, which is one that's been out in Japan for quite a while now. This is a 2.5D hack and slash game which sees you taking on the role of Hisako as she cuts down a horde of zombies. Having spent her life underground owing to the zombie apocalypse, her one ambition is to get back to the surface and become a normal schoolgirl. From what I've seen, this has received fairly mediocre reviews since its Japanese release, and is releasing at a price of £24.99. I've actually already seen the physical copy cheaper to pre-order at around about the £20-21 mark for anyone that's interested, and as I said, this one comes out on the 13th. The final game for the week then, this is from NIS America, and this is Langrisser I and II. Now we've actually already reviewed this game, and again I'll put the link to that in the top pinned comment, and is a remaster of two classic turn-based strategy games from the early 90s, featuring a brand new art style, albeit you can switch back to the original sprite work should you wish. You're getting two games for your money, and whilst the price of $49.99 in pounds, dollars or euros does look pretty high, both games can be serious time sinks if you want them to be. Like I said, if you want to know more, please do check out our review down below for the full story. Right, that's 10 games for this week then. Like I said, not the best week ever, but certainly a couple of interesting indie games with things like Cider, Alder's Blood and Neon City Riders, there's definitely been worse weeks, that's for sure. Anyway, a quick thank you to our patrons as always for your continued support. We've had a couple of new ones recently and it is very much appreciated, I can assure you. And thank you to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.